In Black Panther, King T'Chaka and Zuri could have handled the Njobu situation a lot differently. So, of the many things they could have done, one thing is T'Chaka and Zuri could have cleaned up Njobu's corpse, because leaving Njobu's corpse there means that Killmonger finds it later, and Killmonger sees the corpse and becomes radicalized and wants revenge on Wakanda. So that could have taking care of Njobu's corpse could have prevented it, and maybe Killmonger would have assumed that Njobu just disappeared, and maybe he would have just spent his life looking. But the point is, don't leave the evidence at the scene of the crime. Clean up the evidence at the crime scene. And another thing they could have done is obviously they could have taken Killmonger, Njobu's son, back to Wakanda. They could have taken him, and sure, they could have raised him. But of course, then Killmonger would start asking questions like what happened to his dad, Njobu. And then, of course, T'Chaka would have to answer the difficult questions. So that's another problem. And alternatively, they could have taken the child and killed him as well. Like they could have killed Killmonger as well on the spot. Maybe they just kill Killmonger on the spot and they just leave Killmonger and Njobu's bodies to be found by someone else later. So they could have gotten rid of the problem all at once. Now, understandably, Zuri and T'Chaka were both traumatized at having to do what they had to do, so they didn't really have the emotional strength at the moment to do what had to be done. And T'Chaka did not necessarily have to blow Zuri's cover, so T'Chaka could have just let Njobu assume that Zuri was just James the whole time and not done anything to put Zuri in a dangerous position where, like, the reason Njobu tried to shoot Zuri was because Njobu felt betrayed by Zuri because Zuri had been spying on him the whole time. So, really, T'Chaka could have just said, when Njobu started denying the fact that he betrayed Wakanda and gave vibranium or let Claw break in and steal vibranium, T'Chaka could have just said, I know you did it, stop denying it, and you're just coming, and taken him in. And really, also, another thing is that T'Chaka could have just disarmed Njobu and did not have to claw him, literally claw him. But of course, clawing was probably just the instinct, because when T'Chaka is fighting enemies, like he's probably used to clawing it, so he acted too quickly out of instinct. And so that was another thing. And of course, if Njobu had successfully shot Zuri and killed him, well, that would have just exponentially increased Njobu's crime. So assuming Njobu had shot Zuri and killed him, then T'Chaka would have taken Njobu into custody, and not only would Njobu be severely guilty of betraying Wakanda and letting Claw in and stealing the vibranium, that would probably literally be treason. The council would also charge him for directly murdering a fellow Wakandan, Zuri, so Njobu would have been in a lot of trouble. Now, if Njobu had just been taken prisoner, if he had submitted or he had just been captured before that whole fiasco, I think that Njobu might have pleaded with King T'Chaka and asked him to take along Killmonger with him. And assuming that Njobu was cooperative, maybe Njobu would have asked T'Chaka to raise Killmonger, and maybe Killmonger might have turned out better or is still angry because probably Njobu would have been executed by the council. I doubt they would have let him live for treason. So Killmonger would have seen that, and he would have still been very angry and radicalized, and he would still want revenge on Wakanda. So maybe that's not the best outcome either. So many different outcomes that could have happened from the situation. But of course, when the situation is moving very quickly, people try to act very quickly, and sometimes the action is too hasty and things happen that have long-term consequences.